hope you're all doing fine. My name is Samantha and this is, I think, episode 9 of the Khaos Kismet podcast. It might not be episode 9, I didn't actually check. I should have probably checked. This is my little place on the internet where I talk about all the crafty things that I've been up to. Now, if you'd saw my Instagram, I had said, well, I'd missed last week's podcast because I was just really busy. The week just got away from me. And I had said that, sorry dog, what I might start doing is recording every 2 weeks, because as we're coming into the summer, you know, you get busier. However, looking at the amount of stuff that I have here, I'm not sure that's going to be possible, so I think I'm just going to have to make the time to record every week. Because I think I've got somewhere in the region of 10 finished objects, and I think 7 or 8 whips. Right, I'm sorry, the dog has been super annoying. This is like the second time I've tried to record this. She just kept running past. Right, Lou. She's been absolutely just so energetic for the last couple of days, and I don't know why. I mean, she's a high energy dog anyway, but she's been energetic even for her. So I'm hoping she's going to settle down and not be too noisy. I apologise if you can hear her just like playing with her toys though. Right, so today we have crochet, we have knitting, we have cross stitch, and we have a little bit of embroidery. Where do we want to start? Let's start with the finished objects, which is a lot, but it's not actually that bad. So first of all, I decided I'd got some Good Vibes yarn, and there was this cake, and when I looked at it, I thought it was a cake of DK. So that was a dog falling off the windowsill. Sorry about that. That was a dog falling off the windowsill in anticipation of the Amazon man coming to the door. So I will show you what he's brought me in a minute. Right, where was I? By the show. So I had this cake that I thought was a DK cake, because when I looked at it and I put it over my finger, and because Good Vibe yarn, the labels aren't always correct on the mystery yarn bags, and so you have to kind of guess. And looking at it, I thought it was a DK. Obviously I didn't look at it properly, because it turns out it's more of like a 4-ply, maybe a sport weight at best, but I think probably a 4-ply. But it's acrylic, so it was quite floofy for a 4-ply. So we have the virus show. I basically made this until I got bored making it, and it's a fair enough size, but what I was thinking was, if it was round like that, you know, that still comes down quite far. So I didn't really want to make it much bigger than that, because obviously the more rows you put on, the longer the depth of the triangle is. And I'm quite tall. I'm like 5'9". I'm not ridiculously tall, but I am on like the taller end of average. So yeah, so I stopped at that one. So that's finished object number 1. I used a 5.5mm hook for that, because I wanted it to be quite drapey. So the dog's complaining now because I've put her in her crate because she's being annoying. So I hope you can't hear her. She's fine. The crate is massive. She's just annoyed because she can't run around anymore. So with what was left of that cake, it was not quite enough to do. It was like a 200-gram cake, and that was maybe about 120 grams of use for that. So I used the rest on this, and this was just a super quick and easy V-stitch scarf. Let's see if I can, the stitches on there. And this is like just a go-to pattern, and it's big enough so that it'll go down twice, or you could just leave it open and then just fold it under your coat like that. So that is finished object number 2. Not much to say about that. I used the same hook, just V-stitch in a strip, just made as many chains as I wanted the width, and then just used up the rest of it, and then just seamed it. So that's another giant cake out of my stash. So then after that, I also, now I think I'm going to do a quick little blog post on this one. This is, I used 2 cakes of Karen, not marble cakes, what was it? Is it ombre? Might be Karen ombre cakes. And this one has got this white in it. You can see it a bit better on that side, I think. There's like little pink flecks through it. And then it goes into this dark grey. And then there's this green. And this is all held single, the white runs through it. A lighter grey. And then it goes back to the darker grey, lighter grey, green. Now, one cake got me to about halfway through this darker grey section, and I happened to luck out because I know the cakes are just wound as they're wound. I don't get these cakes very often because they're quite expensive sometimes, so I tend to not buy them very often. But this was what I'd got in my good vibes again, and I happened to get these 2 cakes, and they were like exact copies of each other. So what I did was I pulled from the middle till that one was finished, and then I pulled from the outside until the end. So I ended up with an exact copy of the scarf. And then on the ends we have the triangles, and I made the triangles so that they go opposite directions. So it's a super easy pattern. I didn't follow a pattern as such. I just like made it up. And so I think I'm probably going to do a quick blog post on this. It was just a nice, quick, easy knit. I do believe the yarn is worsted weight. I'm trying to fold it up here. I do believe the yarn is worsted weight, and I used 10mm needles on it. Now, I learned to knit on straight needles because that's what my gran used, and circular needles hadn't been invented at that point. And every so often I do like to go back and use straight needles, because I'll show you them. The way that I knit, the way that I was taught to knit, was having one needle under there, and then you have like this needle in this hand and then the yarn in this hand. That's how I was taught to knit. So if I'm starting to get pain, because I get pain in this bit quite often, if I've been knitting or crocheting too much, so I'm going to move the camera slightly. That's better. I get pain in this bit sometimes, and I find that if I'm crocheting like this, or if I'm knitting and taking the weight on here, it makes it worse. So sometimes it's nice just to have these, and then because the needle's long enough, I can sit it on a cushion and that takes the weight of it. Obviously it only works for some things. It's good for a scarf, and it's literally just garter stitch. But because of the way that yarn is, it looks like it's marled. It looks like I've held 2. Looks like I've held 2 together. Might suit better on the grey actually. It's really nice. I like the effect of it. It's pretty soft. It's not like the softest acrylic in the world, but it's quite nice. And I used straight pins for it, just for a change, because why not? I think I tend to use straight pins if I'm doing something that's a bit chunkier, honestly, now that I think about it. I don't use big yarn very often. I think I mentioned this before. Most of the time I will use either 4-ply or I will use DK or Aran, and I tend to not really go any thicker than that. So it's been a nice change, like having projects that are working up a lot faster, and you know, just in time for the hot weather, I get these nice big thick projects. Right, next thing that I made, because I still had some of these cakes. Now these cakes I love. These are marble cakes. So I made a granny, and this one is in champagne. Is it just called champagne, or is it champagne something? I think it's just called champagne. And it's got, let's see if I can show you all the colours. So it's got like this creamy colour going into this like peachy colour, and like pale browns and toffees, and then these pinks. And it's lovely, it's so nice. And I've just done a plain granny, and then I've done a few rows of double crochets. Again, no pattern, this is just, and it just sits like that and tuck the bits under, and this is like my favourite way to wear shawls. So that was a nice quick and simple one. I might make another one of these actually. None of these are for me, these are all going to be going in the shop as soon as I can get around to taking pictures of them. The problem is it's been raining here, sorry, slight interlude here while I talk about the weather. It started getting a little bit warmer, it wasn't absolutely freezing cold anymore, and it stopped snowing last month. But then since then it has been so weird. We've had rain, we've had thunderstorms, we've had sunshine, sometimes we've had all of these in the same day, sometimes we've had all of these in the same afternoon. English weather is the weirdest thing. So I'm struggling. That's the reason why I'm over here today as well, because I have been recording at my PC, but I'm back to recording on my phone over this end of the room because the light over there is just terrible. You literally can't see anything. So yeah, back over here and see how this goes. There was something else I was going to say. I can't remember what it was. I'm sure it was something wonderful and life-changing and deeply profound, and I'm sure it will come back to me at some point, probably at 3 o'clock in the morning, where my brain's like, nope, no sleep for you. Anyway, I will stop waffling now. So, first pattern where I actually used a pattern. What have I done with the book? It's hiding right in front of my face. So this book, if you have crocheted for any amount of time, you will have seen this book. This was a very, very popular book. Modern Crochet Shawls and Wraps, 35 Stylish Ways to Keep Warm from Lacy Shawls to Chunky Throws by Laura Strutt. This was made, when was this published? A few years ago now, I think. 2016. Hair in my mouth. Yep, 2016 this is. I'm sure they have a company, and I can't remember the name of the company, but this book, it's got quite a few like nice patterns in it, and I'd only made one of them before. There's a giant granny shawl in this that I had made before. My amazing bookmark, because I'm classy. Right, so this is the one that I had made. Oh, let's try and not show you the pattern. So I thought, that looks quite nice and big and airy, and so I thought I'll try that. It's called Shades of Blue. This one is made in cotton. And this one wants 600 grams of cotton. But I thought I'll see how far I get with the cake, because I had two of each cake, and I thought I'll probably have to use like 2 cakes for each thing, because this one's done in a DK weight, and the yarn it wants is Mirasol Pima Kure, which is 100% Pima cotton. Now I think that's really nice, but I do not have any Pima cotton. So I decided to work with what I had, and I had these cakes. So I've made the granny shawl out of one of these marble cakes. And then I made This is one cake. And I put tassels on it. This one is also a marble cake. This is called Ginger Twist, I think. This one is like super pale. It's like lots of shades of cream and pale grey, and then it's got this like sort of peachy cream down here. This bit's almost white. This is a kind of peachy cream. This is a pale grey. And it's just so nice. It's lovely. And this one, ooh, get myself in the thread on it. I've been cross stitching this morning. There's thread everywhere. And as you can see, and it still dips in the middle. So this one, just sits so nice. And I thought, I had a little bit left. I thought I'd put some tassels on it because why not? And it is just so nice. It's so easy to wear. Just throw it around. It's not quite a triangle. The way that the pattern works, it's sort of triangle-esque, but it's not an actual true triangle shawl. It's, as you can see, it's very long, but it's also not a circular shawl. It's like if a circular shawl and a triangle shawl had a baby, and you get this like really shallow, barely a triangle long. I know what I mean. I know it sounds really weird, but it's got tassels. And this was a super easy pattern. Very, very simple to do. I say that's one cake, one marble cake. And it was quick to make, it was simple to make, and I loved it. So I did what any sensible person would do, and I used the other cake and I made another one. This one's exactly the same, only I haven't woven in the ends on this one. Let's just put that on this side. This one's exactly the same, but this is the same cake. This is the same cake as the granny shawl one. So it's got the pinks, and this one's got a little more pink in it than the granny shawl, I think. Pinks and the beiges. So I made those two. And I love that yarn. It's so nice to work with. It's super soft. It's like fluffy without being fluffy, if you know what I mean. It's like plump, nice, and it just feels really, really good when you're crocheting with it. And so because I was having so much fun with those ones, I had actually 3 balls of this. And I thought, I'll use the 3 balls on this. This one doesn't have tassels. The other 2 both have tassels. This ended up being 2 balls because I thought 3 balls is going to make it a bit much. It's so nice. Like I don't wear bright colours usually. My sort of colour wheelhouse, as you know, is more like black, grey, pink and purple. And anything outside of that I don't really wear. But I really, really like this. It's just bright, it's cheerful. The yarn on it, it's got a sort of, I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of not solid. It's a little bit like tonal. You know when you buy like hand dyed tonal yarns, it's a bit like that. So it has, ooh, so I have like a section of this where it's got maybe like the creamy white colour, and then little bits of the pink printed in until it gets into the pink. And then it'll have the light pink with darker pink bits in it. And it does that for all the colours. So obviously I like that pattern because I've made 3 of them. And one of my whips is another one of those. Although I have barely started it. And so I still had another ball of that left, and I thought I'll make another little V-stitch cowl. little V-stitch cowl gives it just a nice little bit of laciness. This stuff, it's still soft, but this one needs to go in the dryer a little bit to loosen it off a bit. Same with that shawl. The marble cakes, I didn't have to do that. This stuff, I don't know what it is. This came in my Good Vibes mystery yarn bag as well. But you might be able to see it a bit better. I love this kind of like minty green colour here. Oh. So, yeah. Again, I've just, where's the join? I've just chained as wide as I thought I wanted it, and then just V-stitch until the yarn run out, and then just seam it up. It's just a lovely little quick way to use up. If you don't quite have enough yarn for something, then just V-stitch scarf, because it's a little bit lacy. It goes a long way. It looks more complicated than it is. It's literally, if you can make a double crochet and you can make a chain, you can make a V-stitch. If you can make a V-stitch, you can make a V-stitch scarf. Very, very simple. Very nice little pattern to do. Right, I have one more crocheted finished object, and it's technically not finished. It's finished, but I haven't fully finished it because I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it yet. And that is, I've also not blocked it yet because I don't know what to do with it. This. Now, I showed this last, oh God, look, my tassels are everywhere. I showed this last time, and I had said I was going to put the little eyes on the ghosts, but I don't know if I want to. I might just leave it like that. We shall see. The back, I haven't sewed in any ends. I've got these dowels, and I ordered them from Amazon. Look how thin that is. I had to drill a hole in that. I had to get the tiniest little drill bit, and I'm not sure if it's going to hold properly, so that's one of the reasons why I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with this yet. Because the plan was I was going to back it with some felt just to hide all of this and like make sure everything's tied off and secure, obviously, but then I was just going to back it with some white felt and then just put some twine, baker's twine, and hang it up with that. But after being so excited about it, because I love the pattern, so it's, start again, Samantha. This is a pattern from Divine Debris on, you can get it on Ravelry, and you can get it on her blog. On Ravelry, you can buy it. On the blog, I don't think you can buy it from the blog. I think it directs you to Ravelry. It might direct you somewhere else as well. I can't remember, but if you know how to do the graphs, then you can just get the free chart. The free chart is on her blog, and she's always doing like new ones of these. She does some brilliant ones. You should follow her on Instagram because she does some amazing things. I love following her Instagram. But this, I'm not sure. And it's this dowel thing. It's not the pattern. The pattern is great. Super easy. Worked up. It took a little bit longer than I thought it would, to be honest. But it's great for using up scraps. So these are all just like scraps of acrylic that I had. I think most of them are paint box, and then there's a couple of Stylecraft Special. It's all in Aran weight. Yeah, it's all in Aran weight. Oh, apart from this green, which is the Deramores that you can't get anymore because they've gone out of business. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I might just back it and hang it and see how it gets on. But the last thing that I want to do is have this and then for it to snap, because it's not, I don't know, what do you think? Can you see the hole? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's not heavy. We'll see. But I love it. It's amazing. It'll look even better once I've steamed it. I need to get one of those like hand steamer things. Because I'd said, I was watching her do some hand steam and stuff, and I was like, I need to get one of those, because when you're hovering with your steam iron over acrylic, it's not always the most pleasant experience. It's a little terrifying. Especially when it's something you spent a long time on. Like I designed a blanket at Christmas time for my partner's dad. He's really into Warhammer. So I made him a blanket with a Warhammer insignia type thing. Like, Warhammer's lots of different armies. It's a tabletop gaming, if you don't know. Tabletop gaming little figures, and each army has their own paraphernalia. So I made him a blanket with the insignia from his army on it. And that was quite a big time consuming project. And it looked really good when it was finished. I was really happy with it. But I had to steam block it. And I was terrified. So I need to get myself a little handheld steamer thing, because I think that will be slightly less terrifying than holding the full weight of an iron. Because if you drop a steamer on it, then it's just a steamer. If you drop the iron on it, it's going to melt a hole through it and ruin my iron in the process. Not that I iron anything except for fabric anyway, you know, so my ex always knew that when I was sewing, because if he came in and the ironing board was out, he knew I wasn't ironing. He knew that I had been sewing for the day. Dear. Oh, I was going to say, I think that's it for finished objects. It's not. I've still got another two. The last two are small ones though. This one, again, is not fully finished, but it's finished. I was just messing around this week, and I need to tidy up the back and put a back on it. But I was just messing around with this. This is a turtle, obviously. The black outline, let's see. The black outline is embroidery. I've just done that with a black pearl cotton. Can't remember what number 10 maybe? And it's one of the thinner pearl cottons anyway. It's a bit thicker than using DMC, but you get some pearl cottons that are quite thick. This is quite a thin one. So I've just done that, and then I've just coloured it in with watercolours. And it's been mostly successful, I think. So I did like quite intense watercolours for the middle section, for the actual turtle. And then for the outside, I just did some very watered down blue and green around it. And I think it's lovely. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. So I've left it sitting there. I did this a couple of days ago. So I've left it sitting just to make sure it's fully dried. So I just need to go around the frame and clean it up a bit, because look, it's got little bits of paint on the frame. So I need to clean the frame up a little bit. And then for the back, I usually just, I don't have any sitting around actually. I just trim round in a circle, cinch it together, and then put a felt backing on it. And then that'll be ready. That'll be ready to go. I enjoy mixing watercolours and embroidery. I did a big one at Christmas time for my ex's mum and dad. It was about this sort of size, the picture, and it was an owl, and the kids had picked the picture, and I just did the whole outline in black and then did it as a very sort of loose abstract kind of watercolour thing, and that turned out really nice. I like that. And the last finished object I have is this little cushion. It's not a cushion. Pillow cushion. So this I had actually done before. I have a little pile, as I'm sure anybody that cross stitches will be aware that cross stitching things and actually fully finishing things are not always within the same hobby house. I enjoy fully finishing things and making them into look nice and pretty, but quite a lot of the time I will finish my stitching and I'll be on the sofa, maybe watching some telly or something like that, and I'll just get the fully finished things, put it in my little box of fully finishes, my little box of finishes, and at some point I'll get around to fully finishing it. Especially if I stitch something that's for me, there is a good chance that that will sit in that box until the end of time, unless I get like a little bit of a rush on and think, oh, you know what, I'm just going to finish all the things, which very rarely happens because I don't have time for all that. But this one I think I'm going to put in the shop. So it's just a little love. It's done on Ada. I've backed it so it's slightly quilted on the front, but I haven't actually done any quilting. You see, this is still plain. I've just done the edges, and on the back we've got rainbows, and it's just a little tuck pillow. I do sometimes put like trim around the edges and things like that, but I didn't think this one needed it. I thought that was cute just the way it is. So there we go. That is all my finished objects, I do believe. Yep, that's all my finished objects. I think that was quite enough finished objects though. That was quite a lot. And this is why I'm thinking I need to stick to weekly podcasts. I've got hair in my drink. I've got lemonade and ice today because it's actually starting to get warm again. In between the thunderstorms and the rain, it's actually quite warm. So yeah, it's been very, very weird. It's quite muggy. I don't like it when it's like this. The heat is very like oppressive. It's not fun because I think it makes me tired as well. If it's miserable outside and it's raining and gloomy, but it's also really warm, I find days like that I just want to sit on the sofa and crochet, which is probably why I've got so much crochet done. I just want to sit on the sofa and crochet. It doesn't motivate me to do things, but it is what it is. You can't change the weather. So sticking with cross stitch, I have got 2 cross stitch whips that I'm actually actively working on. This one, so my ex sent me a message the other day with a picture of this. It's like, did you know you had a project bag in the car? Like, and in case you haven't watched any of my other podcasts, me and my ex, it's like my kid's dad, we split up just over a year ago, but we've stayed friends. It was just the relationship was done and run its course. None of us actually did anything, so we can actually stay friends and be reasonable human beings. So because we only had the one car and it's his car, when we've split up, he still has the car, I do not have one. But he only lives up the road and I have access to the car whenever I want. Now, I haven't driven the car because I don't really go outside unless I have to. I have quite severe agoraphobia. So I haven't driven the car for a few months, and I had completely forgotten, because I find it stressful to go outside. I obviously always take projects with me, and I always take an extra project and put it in the car in case, you know, the first one gets struck by lightning, or I don't know. I always just like to carry extra just in case. So I had this in the car. He assumed it was socks, which is a fair enough assumption because that's what I usually knit when I'm in the car. So he's like, do you know you've got a project bag here? I'm like, nope. Completely forgot all about that. Couldn't even tell you what's in it. He's like, well, I'm not opening it in case there's anything sharp in there. He's not into like the whole crafty thing. He's like, I'll pop it down next time I'll come down. So he brought it down a couple of days ago. Opens it up, and inside is this. Ooh. Which I found highly ironic. So obviously I immediately took a picture, sent it to him and said, this is what was in there. And he's like, wow, really? So it's a Lizzie Kate snippet. It says, "Home is where our story begins." So that was the height of irony, I thought. I had barely started it. All I had done was, see the border and the edges? I had done the top, this top part here, and there's a little bit that goes down there. That's all I had done in it. But I thought, you know what, it's a quick stitch, all the threads are in there, it's kitted up. Let's just get it done. It's on this scrap bit of fabric. I have no idea what it is. I think it's a 28 count. I haven't measured it. It's an even weave. I have no idea what colour it is. It was just a scrap. I'm using pretty much my own colours on it. And I had hoped to get it finished before I recorded today, but my 11-year-old decided that he was going to revert to being a 2-year-old and had a massive tantrum for an hour. It's been a long week for him. He's had SATs. If you're not in the UK or you don't have children and are not aware of what SATs are, they decided that 11-year-old children should be doing exams. I'm not sure who thought that was a good idea, but they did, so that's what he's been doing all week. So he's a little brain tired. So this morning has been interesting. He's currently around visiting his grandparents though, so I get a little bit of a break from his joyous, yeah. There are many words, none of which I can say on a podcast. I love my children, but sometimes they can be a little annoying. And then of course, because the 11-year-old's like, oh my god, everything's horrible, because he's just tired. He's just tired. So my 8-year-old is on his little high horse and he's like, oh my god, and acting like he's in charge and he's like the grown-up one, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. Anyway, I digress yet again. So, doing this, using my own one. I did the letters in, and it's all DMC. I did the letters in a variegated grey. I think I quite like it. This dark bit is showing up for you a lot darker than it actually is. Oh, I've got my little... Ooh, can you see that? Is that focusing? It's Belle and Chip in a little pile of teacups. Obviously, I'm struggling to find a hoop that fits. These hoops are really good though, the rubberized ones. It's like a wood grain effect on them. I like them. But chucked it in there. I'm hopefully going to get this finished today. All that's left to do is the little house. Ooh. There's the little house there. And then I'm not sure what I want to do with it. This fabric is very fray, so I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. I might just put it in a frame. I think that might be for the best. I'll either put it in a frame or I'll turn it into a flat fold if I've got enough fabric without it fraying. I don't really want to sew with it and turn it into a pillow or a wall hanging or anything like that, because I'm not convinced that the fabric won't just disintegrate. But we shall see. We'll see how I feel. I mean, I'm going to have, that's the bottom of the pattern, then I'm going to have this extra bit. So I might just mess around with that and see what it's like to sew with and see if it will just come apart, and then see if I can make it into maybe a little tuck pillow or a little wall hanging or something. So yeah, that's that one. My second cross stitch whip is this one. Please ignore the fact that it has 4 needle minders on it. I got my order through. I do the monthly thread club from Lakeside Needleworks, and when I was on there sorting that out, because I had to change my address and stuff, I saw some needle minders were on sale, so I got these. I love this one, the creepy little thing. This one I already had. This one I got from her. I thought I had 4 needle minders. I've got 3 needle minders on there. I think 3 is still quite sufficient. There's absolutely no need for them being on there, other than the fact I haven't taken them off. I've got like a metal thing that I normally keep my needle minders on, and I just haven't been through and put them away yet. So these are my owls. This is a random kit that I got off eBay a really long time ago. Before I knew that these kits are bad to get. But I've got it, so I'm going to use it. It's on 14 count Ada. They will be little wizard owls. And this comes in... I'll just show you back here. That's half of it. That's the other half. It's called 3 birds on here, but these are like the kits from China. And it has since come to my knowledge that these kits, while they are cheap for a reason. And I mean, the actual kit itself is decent quality, but the problem is they rip off designers. So I've tried to have a look to see who the actual designer is for that pattern, and I can't find it anywhere. But you know, I say I've got it now. I got it years ago, but I thought it'd be a nice, just cute little quick easy stitch, and that's what my brain needs right now, is something not too complicated. So yeah, it's stitching up quite fast. It's nice. Little emo owl. The kit comes with everything that you need. It comes with all the threads, it comes with needles, it comes with the fabric. The fabric is decent quality. It's all overlocked around the edge. And the fabric is big enough, so you can't, and you get plenty of threads with it as well, so you can't really complain about that, I suppose. I do stitch in hoops, and I put the hoops into I've got a Lowry stand, so I sort of go between either sitting with the hoop in my hand, or I'll put it on the Lowry stand. I have tried stitching in hand, and it's just not for me. I can't get my stitches to look right, and I just find it frustrating, and I get lost where I am quite easily. So I am a hoop stitcher. Hey dear. A little sip of my drink. Right, rest of my whips. This one is super simple. We have, this. Now, this says Woolly's Roving Stripes. I'm not entirely sure that's what this is. It looks exactly the same as the marble cakes, and it feels exactly the same as the marble cakes. It says on the side that it's got 80 grams in it, and this does indeed have 80 grams in it. But I got this from the Good Vibes yarn haul, and as we know, their stuff is not always labelled properly. If you buy actual stuff from them, the actual stuff is labelled properly. These are mystery bags. The mystery bags are the things that are not labelled properly. So, oh yeah, it's definitely not. So I just realised it says super bulky 6. So this looks like the middle of in fact, it looks the same. Yeah, it looks the same as the champagne marble cakes I used, but just the middle bit. And I've got 4 of these, 80 grams each, so I decided to make another Shades of Blue shawl, because why not? But now I'm looking at that and thinking that's exactly the same. I might have to do something else with it, because there's no point in me making 2 exactly the same shawl in exactly the same colour. For all of those shawls as well, by the way, I used my 7mm Omni hook. I need to get some more of these, some different sizes. I only got 2. I'd only got 1. I got a 4mm, but they sent me the 7mm. It was in a 4mm box, and when I opened it up, it was a 7mm hook, and I mean, it's engraved on it, I don't know if you can see that. So, I mean, there's no ambiguity. The shaft on a 7mm is considerably bigger than the 4. I mean, that's the difference between them. So, yeah. So I thought I'll just keep the 7 and then I'll just order another 4, which is what I did. And they're great. I've gone on about these before. They're great for me because I have big hands. And I crochet like this. It did take a little bit of getting used to though. The first thing I did with this was I made a blanket, obviously, because why not? And I did start filling it up there. So I just had an itch while I was doing that. I did start filling it up there a bit, but after I made the blanket with it, it was fine. It's just getting used to the different muscles. So I don't know what to make with this now. Say I've got 4 of them, so it's a decent amount. I don't know. But I've barely started this, so I think I will probably rip this out because it's exactly the same as that one, same colour. Well, that's disappointing. Oh, no. Sorry. Sorry about that. A dog dared to bark 6 streets away, so clearly she had to be involved. Dog doesn't bark when people come to the door. Like, literally, people bang on the door and she's just like, But I say dog barks 6 streets away and she's like, that's my angry dog face. Right, I'm almost done. Almost done. A few more whips left. Right, next whip. So that's them. I will do knitting whips next. I did a little bit of a... Right, so I spent a little bit of time videoing clips of this. It's a mix of Norwegian and New Zealand wool. It is woolly wool. It is toothy, but like, where's the end? Like you can see it like sticks to itself. It's not too bad on these bits because I've been like unwrapping them. But I spent quite a bit of time because I'm trying to get more into making reels and TikToks and things because apparently that's what you need to do now to get seen on Instagram. So I was making this little reel, and for some reason, and it's not the first time I've made one, but for some reason I tried to put all the clips together and it wouldn't put them together. It would only show like a few seconds of each clip. So I decided just to take the first clip that I made was me taking this out of the skein and unwinding it, and I used that instead. So I say this is a mixture of, look at the bounce on it though. It's a mixture of New Zealand and Norwegian wool. I got this a really long time ago from Etsy, I think. I've no idea what the shop is, but it's natural, undyed. It's like this like greyish, creamy colour. So it's the perfect colour for my partner because he's boring and doesn't like anything that's not just plain. And like most of my hand dyes and things like that, most of my yarn in general, and like, because he likes hats. So do you want a hat made out of this? Oh, it's too bright. Socks, he'll wear anything on his feet. I could make him like bright neon pink socks and he'd wear them. Hats, he's very particular about though. On the plus side, he does like just plain knitted hats. So this is how far I've got. I'd started doing a 2x2 rib, but I didn't like the way that it was coming up. I think this is like, I think it's maybe like an Aran weight. The problem with this is, although it's not super itchy, like, I think I would probably be able to wear that. It's not the kindest on your hands, so I knitted that much and then I had to stop. So I think I'm going to have to just do it in little bits. Right, I had knitted about the same again, but in a 2x2 rip. Decided I didn't like it, ripped it out, and then did this, and then I had to have a break because it was hurting my hands a bit. It's not, let's say it's not super rough, but you can definitely tell it's woolly wool. But I'm sure it was like super cheap when I got it on Etsy as well. It smells nice. It's not mega sheepy, but it's also not perfumed, so yeah, it's alright. And it's, again, nice woolly hat just in time for summer. I need something like nice and light on the needles, and I've come to the conclusion that my brain's not in a space for big projects at the minute, so I'm just trying to get some little things done. Hats are little things. I need to have something that I can just pick up and work on without thinking about it, and hats are good for that. So that is a whip. Oh, I'm doing this on 5mm, stuck them in it, 5mm Knit Pro Symphonies on a 16, is that 16 inch? This is my interchangeable set. I really want to get the new ones, the mindful ones, but I'm not sure I can justify it at the moment. But they're definitely on my list because everybody says that they're really, really nice to work with. There's the pink, is it Licky? Those ones. I want a set of the pink ones just because they're pink and they look really nice. And I like wooden needles. I do enjoy working with wooden needles. Anyway, waffling. Right, next knitting whip is the sock. DK socks for my partner using Moomin yarn. Moomin Novita Huveret? I'm sorry. Where was it I decided this was from? Finnish. It's Finnish. But I think I got this on like Lovecrafts or Wool Warehouse or something like that. It's really nice. It's really soft. Those are the colour details. Now, it's DK yarn, and I had to buy 200 grams of it because my partner has giant feet. So I got him to try this on when he was here at the weekend, and I just haven't picked it up again since. Because when I was knitting on it, I thought, that looks really narrow. I'm using, it's Kay the Crazy Sock Lady has got a free DK vanilla sock pattern, and I'm following that. I had made the sock before, and it ended up being too small for him. So I ripped out the entire thing to make the leg longer as well as the foot. And I think I'm almost there with help because he wears boots, so they need to be quite long. So I need to get cracking with these now that he's tried them on and they actually go over his foot properly, because that just looks so tiny. But they're fine once they're on, so I'm gonna go with it and hopefully get those finished. I mean, they're DK socks, they should not take that long to knit up. The other socks that I've got on the go. Now, I know I had said last time that I'd got these and I was going to make a big tube, and it's, oh, we're attached. There we go. That stuff, sorry, it's a bit shiny. It's Truly Wool Rich, which is a Signet yarn, which is a UK company. 4-ply sock yarn. 75% wool, 25% polyamide. And I had said I was going to just knit a big tube. I did not knit a big tube. I knit 4 inches of leg and decided that I was 4 inches. Like, that's not long enough to be a long sock. It's not short enough to be a short sock. But it is what it is. I now have socks with 4 inches on the leg. Fish lips kiss heel. Just working my way down the foot. These are right, what way around does it go? Let's see. These are in my little Star Wars Japanese bag that I made myself ages ago. And this is my standing at school waiting on my children sock knitting project, because I can just put it over there and the yarn comes out here, and even when I've got the dog with me I can still stand there and knit. And the dog just sits there and looks at me in a disappointed fashion because we're not walking. She doesn't like, she's a very energetic dog. She doesn't like just sitting around. But we have to stand around because we have to wait on the children. That's just life. Try to explain that to her. She doesn't seem massively convinced, but you know. That is all of my knitting. All of my knitting whips. I think I only have 2 more whips to go, which I know you're like, oh thank God for that. I'm sorry, I will go back to weekly podcasts because this is too much. We're at 56 minutes already. My darling little cherub came in and said, Mum, I would like you to make me something, please, if you don't mind. I was like, okay, what would you like? It's my 8-year-old. He's like, would you be able to make me a dragon? Yeah, could totally make you a dragon. What kind of dragon do you want? I got this at Christmas time, and he wants this dragon. But you know what? That's great. That's fine, because I want to get more use out of my books. I'll see if I can get the picture in without the pattern. There we go. And there we go. That's him from the back. And that's him from the back. These books are great. This is the first one. The second one's already out. The third one is coming out September maybe? I think it's coming out in September, the third one. So I still need to get the second one. These are all the patterns. I've made... Where is it? Oh, yeah. I've made this one. I made that for my partner's niece for Christmas. I want to make all of them though. They're all very, very cute. So this is one of the books that I just want to work my way through and just make everything. But currently we are making the dinosaur. What's his name? Koji the baby dragon. It's not a dinosaur. I've just said dinosaur for no reason at all whatsoever. It's Koji the baby dragon. Right. What colour would you like your dragon? Right. So my 8-year-old doesn't just like do normal 8-year-old stuff. So he's like, I would like it pink. I would like it sparkly pink with purple spikes. Okay, so we have currently, I have this sparkly pink stuff, and ooh, we started off doing the head. However, at some point, there's a lot of counting on this, and usually I'm pretty good because I've made a lot of amigurumis, but I've somehow ended up with the wrong stitch count. So I'm now debating whether to rip this out and start again, or whether just to try and fudge the numbers a little bit, which I think is probably what I'm going to end up doing, if I'm honest, because it's just for my little cherub, and I don't think you'll notice anyway. It's like a couple of stitches out, so I need to work out how many stitches out I am and how to fix it to get back to where it's supposed to be. It's not the pattern's fault, it's me. Like the patterns are really good. This is, it's a Meteor Books one, and this is, you know, amigurumi.com. well, this is patterns from there. So it's all different designers. This particular one is DIY Fluffies. See what other designers do they have in here. That one's DIY Fluffies. We've got Hello Mellow. We've got Erale Designs. Amour Fou. Yeah, well, lots of different designers in it. And see, the one I'm doing on the front is a DIY Fluffies pattern. I don't know if you can buy the pattern separately. I have the book, so I have not checked. But yeah, nice little pattern. I know DIY Fluffies patterns are good, so I know that it is just me and I've just miscounted somewhere because that's what we do. Right, I have one more whip. And it's another amigurumi, like I said. Oh. We have body with a little belly. I don't know if you can see it, but he's got a little belly, little head. I still need to do the face shaping, but we've got a little head. And we've got 2 little arms and a foot. I had this scrap ball of yarn. I think I actually used this to make, it was down here, I used this to make a cardigan. It was those, you know, the big 400-gram balls. It's got all these like little flecks in it, little flecks of different colours. And this is hopefully going to look like this. This is Fudge the, sorry about the glare. This is Fudge the Bear by Christina Marie from Whimsical Yarn Creations. I got this pattern on Ravelry. It's currently loaded into Knit Companion, that's why it looks like that. Knit Companion's really, Knit Companion shows you all the pages along the top. It's got counters down the side. It's got like the yellow line for keeping track of your what row you're on, but then there's this one as well for keeping track of what side you're on and things like that. It's really good. It's free as well, so we always like free stuff. It's only on Android, but I digress again. So this is Fudge. This is Fudge. He's very cute. He actually has quite a lot more shaping. Well, oh, she's complaining again because she dropped her bone out of her cage. But I'm almost done, so she can wait a minute. Yeah, I do believe it's a free pattern that I got off Ravelry originally, and it's working out pretty fast. This is Aran weight, and this is an acrylic wool blend with all the little coloured nips in it, and I thought it would make a really cute bear. And then I'm just going to do some like plain cream for the muzzly thing, because it's you just crochet a oval and sew it on, and then I'll put his little nose on. I've got these new eyes. Saw somebody else using them and I thought, oh, they look quite nice. So I got a box of them. I don't know what I've done with the box, but got them on Amazon. Cute little kawaii eyes. I'm going to do a little bit of face shaping, so his little eyes will come in there and his little snout, and then have his little ears on. And this, I appreciate this, okay? Because for years I made amigurumis where the pattern would get you to make the head into a complete ball and just close it off at your 6 stitches. But this makes so much more sense, and then you don't get a floppy head. So I tend to do this on patterns that tell me to go down to 6 stitches anyway. I just don't. Because when you put these together and you have the same amount of stitches on both sides, You just match up the stitches and you get an actual solid join without wobbly head and without having to put things inside it. Because if you want to give it to a child, or if your dog gets a hold of it, or anything like that, you know, it's not always great to have like a dowel or anything inside it. And even with the best of intentions of children not getting near them, you know, it happens. And I would rather have a solid join without a wobbly head and not have to put a dowel in it. Right, that is at last all of my finished objects done. That is all of my whips done. So one thing I had to do as well is my Fitbit. I should probably put it back on. This was a bit of the extra yarn that I had left. I don't know if you can get something for this, but my Fitbit has been irritating me so bad. And it's actually like causing the skin to blister and come off around there. So I just wrapped a load of yarn around. Wrapped a load of yarn around it. And yeah, it's working. It's fine. I'm not going to mess that now. But there you go, another finished object. I made a watch strap. I need to do a better job of it. I just sort of like quickly wrapped it around just to see if it would work and if it would be comfortable. And then never actually went back and fixed it properly. So I think I'm going to make like a proper little watch strap cover for it. Because I like wearing my Fitbit, it's just very irritating. Right. Let's see. Let's see what the Amazon man brought me. So, I had a little bit of shop credit on Amazon. I had quite a lot of shop credit on Amazon because I sent some stuff back. And I thought I'm going to use it because they had, like, it's not a sale as such, but when you have Amazon Prime, sometimes they send you like money off things and whatever. So I got some money off some books. So I have I have 5 books, which is what the Amazon man brought me. So we have this one. Let's see, I'll show you. There's a picture of all the little families inside. So there's the raccoons, there's bears, there's foxes, deer, mouse and rabbits. And they've got lots of little accessories and little clothes, and these are all wool felt. Because I quite fancy just doing a little bit of hand sew it. It's quite a nice book though. It's got all the instructions in the front for sewing with felt. I don't really want to like have a massive flick through on all the books because we're already over an hour. So we've got that one, little felt animals. This one I saw on So Sweet Samuel. So Sweet Samuel. She got this one and it was absolutely adorable. Look at that wee frog. And again, this has got all the animals, all the little accessories. They have full-size templates in the back. Now, these are not going to be small. Let's see if I could find... see if I can find like the size of the body. I can't find the size of the body. Right. But it looks like these are actually going to be quite big. These are not like little miniature things like I thought they were. It looks like they're going to be a reasonable size, which is fine, and that's good because it means it's a lot less fiddly. Because what I'm finding recently is, especially when I wake up in the morning, I think I'm starting to get arthritis in my fingers essentially, which, you know, is great and doesn't make me feel like I'm getting old at all. But I'm waking up in the morning, my fingers are really stiff and I'm having to do stretches just in order to get them to function. So I thought if I maybe lay off the crochet and knitting a little bit as the weather comes in and do a little bit more sewing, that would be nice. Plus, you know, they're adorable. And while I was there, I also got this one, Marmalade, which is a year in the life of Marmalade Rabbit. So this one is just the one bunny with tons of accessories. Oh, see. And these ones are a mixture. Some of them are felt, some of them are, like the actual bunny is felt. But some of the clothes and things are, oh, little butterfly wings and little chicks. Some of the clothes and things are sewn. So it takes you through the seasons. So we've got spring, summer, autumn and winter. Again, it's got all the templates in the back. I'm seeing if I can find like Christmassy things. No. There's loads. Like, oh. So yeah, I'm hoping to make some little felt people. They'll be nice. I've got this one, Snug as a Bug, and this is from Melly and Me, and I have another one of her books, and she has a blog, and she's lying there, she's like, oh, woe is me. She's fine, honestly. She's just grumpy because I won't let her come out and ruin the house. Let's see if there's a picture in here of everything in the book. So this one's got a quilt, a bag, the snail that's on the front cover, a mobile and a bug in a rug. I'm not entirely sure what a bug in a rug is like, but that's the mobile and the bag and the quilt. Let's have a look and see what a bug in a rug is. Oh, like a little lovey. That's like a very specific to babies thing though, so I probably won't make that. But the quilt's really nice and the bag's really nice and the snail's adorable. And I say I've got another one of her books and I know that the patterns are really good, and it was super cheap as well. I'm sure I got this for something like £6 or £7. So, and that's free delivery as well. And then I got this one as well, Fat Quarter Quilts, because I used to do quite a lot of quilting and it's something that I want to be able to start doing again. And oh look, oh, the problem is I want to make quilts that size. That's the quilt. Look, I don't have my fingers done with half nail varnish today. Those ones. There's 12 projects in here. They're not all quilts. Some of them are. See, I really like that one. It's got like Scandinavian vibes. It's got wall hangings and table runners and things like that in as well. Table runner. And the thing that I like about quilting is you can make things. Oh, see, that's pretty. Just by changing up the fabrics on something, you can make something look completely different. And with a lot of these things as well, you can make the blocks and turn the blocks into something else. So, yeah. and get a little bit of sewing done now that the weather's warming up a bit. Right, we are at 1 hour and 15 minutes. My phone is complaining to me. The dog is complaining. I will be back next week because, yeah, that's a lot of stuff. I'm sorry. But I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, and hopefully I'll get some of these whips knocked out for next week and get some new stuff. Hopefully I'll have some sewing stuff to show you as well. And yeah, until then, enjoy, have fun, take 5 minutes for yourself every single day, and just breathe. Alright, I'll see you next week. Bye.